Joe Burrow lost for the season. We'll talk about this coming up next on the Wincinnati Podcast.
It's an exciting time to be a Bengals fan.
I'm Ace.
We got a special show as always.
The voice of the Bengals. Dan Ford, Willie Anderson, Corey Dillon.
The name of this thing is called Wincinnati, and I'm not going to stop.
Talk to us about that roller coaster season.
I'm still going to give you the same AJ.
I'm going to work as hard as I can to be the best.
Always working ever since I met y'all boys.
I got to get your top 5 receivers. Better, man.
Good. Watch out for us.
I can't hear that, Joe.
Joey B out for the season, man. It's nasty. It's nasty work. Oh, man.
Tell me that song ain't hard, though. Tell me that song not hard, though. Like
the
that
song
beat.
is definitely hard. For those watching at home, welcome to the Wincinnati Podcast. I tried to start it off with a little video with a tribute to Joe Burrow talking about the season. For some reason, we didn't get the audio there. I'm going to try to see if I can get it, but for those watching, you feel me? Dude had the wine. He was sipping it on the curb, trying to get it popping. Let me see if I can run this back real quick.
That's
Sam, how you doing tonight, bro?
I'm doing pretty good, bro. Like, man, it's just... I seen that song. I said, bro, this is one of the best Bengals songs ever made. Like, I know it's like messed up, but that's like one of the best songs ever.
You said one of the best. All right, let's try this again.
It's up there, bro.
Can you hear it?
It's a Burrow out for the season. This shit hurt my heart. I can't believe it. I don't even feel my heart beating. Cincinnati Bengals, we was eating. This is Burrow out for the season. This shit hurt my heart. I can't believe it.
This is all of our mood right now.
This shit broke my heart. I don't think my heart is beating.
This is nasty, man.
I don't think it's beating. My shit ain't beating. They say we're all done for the whole motherfucking season.
No. All right, man. We had our chance to talk about obviously the biggest topic, why you guys probably came here to hear from us tonight. Joey B out for the season. I mean, at least we can laugh about it, right, Zim?
Bro, shout out to Jake and Mon. Can you imagine right after that game going live? Like, if y'all
going
don't know
live
Bengals,
after that game is crazy. Shout out to Jake and Mon.
Bengals
I'm sure Mon will
Pulse.
be in there. Shout out to them, man. Make sure you definitely hit the subscribe button. Lock in with them. We're still going to drop the content. We're still going to make sure that you guys get all of the news that you guys deserve, especially when it comes to the Bengals. We're going to give you guys our takes and everything. We're going to talk about the Joe Burrow injury. We'll talk about some of the takeaways from the game, the plan moving forward, and should the Bengals tank or contend. We'll talk about that coming up next. All right, man. We got to talk about the Joe Burrow injury. Bengals were up in this game. Joe Burrow ends up taking a shot to his hand, his wrist, on a sack from Jadeveon Clowney on a hit there, falls on his hand. And as that happened, everybody just was trying to figure out, what to do. We see Joe Burrow on the sideline. He tries to throw, just can't throw the ball, goes into the blue tent. We don't see him. The next thing we know, we're hearing that it's the wrist, it's a possible nerve issue, this and that. Then, unfortunately, a few days later, we get the news that we were dreading. Joe Burrow lost for the season. Zim, what were your thoughts like just on the injury? Obviously, a lot of people were feeling like that video that we just showed when that news dropped. But talk about your thoughts and what you thought about it, bro.
Man, I'm going to tell you, I had flashbacks of when Joe tore his ACL And I remember it was a Commanders game, so I had I live in DC, so I had people over, and it just killed the vibe. So this game, it was different. It was just so different on so many different fronts, and when it happened, complete shambles, bro. Like I went from, I remember on Twitter, like, just where them Joe Mixon haters at, like, Mixon had just scored, like, all that. I like immediately I started playing the game through my head, and I can't remember. I keep on going back to that thought of how I felt like at that moment. I've seen that Joe Burrow game before. When Joe Burrow in opposition going to hate this, and I get it. But if Joe Burrow starts off a game like that in rhythm, 10 points like early like that, you got the McPherson missed field goal. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he looks like that early on that drive, and the way that they were running the football, like, you're getting 350 on you, like, minimum. Right. Minimum. You getting 350 on you, minimum. I don't care who it is. And to see him go out like that, like, it just, man, shambles. I was in a space today and somebody was like, yeah, I mean, I saw it and I was like, we got to, pick it back up. Like, bro, I was zoned out after that happened. I don't even, everything was like blacked out for me. Like, I don't really, I mean, I was watching it, we're going to talk about like takeaways from the game, but I was just, in my head, I was just like going through all these different things, because when he couldn't grip the football, I knew right then, like, the nerve damage thing. I was in my mind, I was trying to build it up and saying, well, okay, let's say, and maybe it's like 2 to 4 weeks. You remember how Josh Allen played through the UCL tear and all these different things. I'm like, maybe he has something like that, or a ligament, like some kind of nerve damage in his hand, because the picture that kept on going around with his hand like that. Yeah. But then when I seen him with the thing, it was really about him gripping the football. I just knew, I was like, that's a break. Like, yeah, at that point right there, I was like, that's a break. Like, and I was like, well, maybe it's like, in my mind formulating, maybe it's like a bone or something right here. Mm-hmm. You protect it, it's padded, and you could throw. But when he couldn't grip it, I don't know.
Yeah, and you kind of saw that in the game, man. It was like everybody was kind of shocked, and this was a game, like I said, they were up. They started to get the momentum. He throws that touchdown. You're thinking the Bengals are back. This was a tough environment. They struggled a little bit early on, got it together, started dotting them up, and then that happens. And like you said, it just took the life, it seemed like, out of the team. Like, even when I watched the defense, they just didn't play with the same aggression outside of a couple players, which we'll talk about that in the takeaways. But it really was deflating, bro. Like, whenever 9 goes down, obviously, a lot of people feel like that's the foundation, and rightfully so, because he is that guy. So when we saw 9 go down, it was like, man, this is a nightmare. Not against this team, like not against them. Like, at least the last time, like you said, even though it wasn't good, it was against the Commanders. For this to happen on that night, I just felt like it was a nightmare, bro. Honestly, I thought that I needed to wake up and figure out what was going on. But let's get into some of the game, man. I mean, me and you talked about it when this happened. Like I said, a lot of players, at least it seemed, I'm not going to put that on them, but it didn't seem like some of them were like shaking, which is understandably so. Like, you got Joe Burrow, cool. One player that didn't look shaken at all, Jordan Battle, bro. Jordan Battle in this game. I think if you're taking anything positive away from that game, me and you talked about it, Jordan Battle was just on a mission, it seemed like, in this game. I saw him go after Lamar. I saw him make play after play. He was able to make stops before first downs. It just seemed like it was a crucial coming out party. And obviously Nick Scott has the 12-man on the field penalty. That kind of made Lou upset and got him to go with Jordan Battle. I feel like this was Jordan Battle ascending and taking that mantle of starting safety. And that was one of the quote-unquote hot takes, or whatever you call it, like calling your shot before the season. We kind of talked about that. I kind of felt like one of them that I told Ryan was Jordan Battle at some point will take that starting safety position. And I think that he did that What were your thoughts on Jordan Battle? Because I know you were saying like just the way that he was playing was ferocious, and he just had a huge impact.
Bro, he was not. Hey, bro, Jordan Battle was everywhere. Every time that Lamar would run like them little draws and little QB powers and stuff like that, I feel like Jordan Battle was like running Johnny to the spot on all them joints. The way that he was hitting, he wrapped up. Like I literally was watching him saying, how in the hell was this other dude, Nick Scott? How was Nick Scott playing over him all this time? Like his instincts, his awareness. I hope he does. Like I was gonna say, I hope he doesn't make me eat my words, but bro, he looked like one of them dudes in that game, bro. Like I don't know if he ever showed that at practice to them or something, but something about when them lights cut on. I mean, he led us in tackles with 12 tackles in it, essentially like in his first real like full game, and I just thought he was all over the place in that game. So like, bro, like he's a guy. I think he solves a lot of different problems that we've had in the secondary, giving up a lot of big plays, like in that intermediate, area where you saw him kind of come up and wrap up and take some. I wanted to kind of give a little bit of a shout out to Miles Murphy too. You had pointed this out to me, like Lamar would try to get out to like the perimeters and he would jump out there on some of that stuff. He got some pressures in it too. And I thought you kind of saw why you drafted him. When you were real hyped just now for your first takeaway, I really was going to say this. The first thing Purple people told me, and they told me this, I remember week 5, they were like, bro, like week 5 last year, they were like, the game that we lost where we do the stupid shovel passes. It was like, bro, why y'all stop giving the ball to Mixon? Yeah. In the game on Thursday night, that game reminded me of Mixon in the Buffalo playoff game where here was Milano and Tremaine Edmonds. He beat them to every angle, beat them to every corner, caught every pass, made them look stupid. Ran over everybody, trucked everybody. Go watch them plays when Joe Mixon is getting. He routed up Roquan. He routed up Patrick Queen. And when he finished on the sidelines on all them things, he didn't just like run out of bounds. Like he was trucking. Like, bro, he was catching everything with one hand. He was going stupid early in the game.
Mixon was going crazy in that game.
Mixon was going stupid in that game early on, bro. Like, and I think we're so numb now. And the whole argument of Mixon versus Mixon, all that stuff. It's almost like, bro, if that had been anybody else, say Chase Brown or somebody would have did that, like in that game, you'd be like, bro, he is him. But it's Mixon, so it's like this battle where you have all these people that stay tight-lipped about it, and I think it's so whack. But Mixon was a dog. Like Mixon, like you said, guys looked like they were checked out. Jamar Chase, every time they went to the camera, he was just so like, you could just tell he was just done. Like, even when he scored, he's just like, and I get it, they're down big, but I just thought Mixon
his boy too, so it's like,
yeah. So all of those things, it's like Mixon. I thought Jamar like early though, like after Burrow went out, he kind of just went into that like, man, like so Mixon still was looking crazy out there. Like even after that, he still was looking crazy to me. He had that big pass pro one after that. Like I don't know.
Mixon he had like 100 total yards. Like Cook Roquan on the out.
Bro, in a game like that, this is the one thing that I want just to kind of go back to the Burrow hurt thing again. There's a graphic that we put out as Wincy where we're showing that Joe Burrow literally has played 50 straight consecutive games. So Bengals fans got to stop running with this whole you're going to Andrew Luck him. And I hate that these accounts that are supposed to be Bengals like oriented accounts are retweeting and funneling this madness out to the world. Just to go over the Joe Burrow timeline, he tore his ACL in the 2020 season. Very unfortunate. A 300-something pound man falls on your leg. It could have happened to anybody. Is it malpractice that Michael Jordan was in there? That's a whole nother conversation. But the actual act of somebody falling on your leg, it's not really you could do. He then goes in and does the offseason, whatever. Yes, he doesn't play preseason, but he never missed the NFL start from that point all the way to this point on Thursday night. He just played 50 consecutive starts. The only start that he didn't start, was the 2021 game where we had the Browns where we were resting players for the playoffs. Outside of that, he never missed a start. Yes, he hurt his pinky in a game against the Chargers. was on the injury report that week, comes back like nothing. Yes, he got hurt in the Super Bowl because why? Guess what kind of tackle it was? That the hip, what is the drink? What is it called? Hip. Whatever that whatever that day saying Logan Wilson did. Von Miller and Lloyd and Leonard Floyd did it collectively and pinned his leg back and then pulled it back. He played the rest of the game, never missed a snap. That's not injury prone. He's never had no hamstring. I'm on an injury report. I'm not playing, da-da-da-da. He comes back this offseason, not hurt in a game, hot day, cramping in his calf, runs too hard, maybe practices too much, pulls it, right? Calf strain. He gets past that. 50 days later, he then comes back and plays NFL games. Now, should the Bengals have set him out? I don't know. Like, looking back in hindsight, week 1, week 2, he looked terrible. But he never missed a game. He played all those games. So, like, this crazy narrative that people are perpetuating and trying to make it something that it isn't because they have their own agendas with their own teams and stuff. Move them people out the way. We understand what's going on with Joey B. He plays a position where you hold the football. What do people want to do? They want to get the person with the football. People like Pat Mahomes hurt their ankle in a playoff game. He's not injury prone. He's playing football and he toughed his way through an injury, just like Joe Burrow toughed his way through a calf injury. Mahomes is a hero. Burrow is injury prone all of a sudden. I just thought that was ridiculous. The one thing that makes me sick about the whole thing, though, is the Zach Taylor error. He doesn't run the football enough, right? And part of Mixon running really good early in that game, the pockets for Joe Burrow on that drive to go get the touchdown, they're beautiful. Mm-hmm. And it's all predicated from the run game. And to me, that's the egregious work. It's like, it's a law of averages. Instead of dropping back 40 or 30-something times, drop back 27, 28, 26, somewhere around there. Then you know what I'm saying? It balances itself out. Once you do that, then the offensive line doesn't have this magnifying glass on it. All these different things happen. And I think that's the issue that we got to look at a lot more. Not like, oh, my God, the offensive line is terrible. The offensive line was on a 4-game win streak. Offensive line looked pretty damn good in most of that Texans game to me. And then, or a good portion of it. Then they come back and they were about to cook the Ravens in this game. So it's like, I'm not buying that, bro. Like, could you upgrade the position? Sure. But we could do that all around the board. You know what I mean? And I just thought, like, this offensive line was good enough to play. I mean, to go play and win a Super Bowl. And it was better than the 2021 season. And it was better than the 2022 season.
Yeah, but another big topic was the hip drop tackle. I mean, Logan Wilson is not a dirty player. I'm tired of the fake narratives getting spinned up about Logan Wilson. We've watched Logan Wilson play since 2020. He's never been on any of that type stuff. Like, you could talk about, they're calling him the new Burfict and all of this. Like, that's insane, bro. Like, shout out to Burfict. We love Burfict. Yes, Burfict did do some things that were kind of between the lines, twisting ankles and stuff like that. That's not Logan Wilson, bro. Like, that was the worst tweet I think of the night was Rap Sheet talking about making it seem like Logan Wilson was a dirty player because he was in on 3 plays. No shit, Sherlock. He's a linebacker. He's supposed to be in on a majority of the stops. Like, what are we doing here where we're talking about linebackers? I didn't hear anybody when Roquan had 22 tackles or whatever it was. If somebody would have got hurt in those games, would people have been like, oh my God, they were all hurt by Roquan on that play. Like, come on, man. Like, let's get it together, man. The death threats and all of that is just lame, bro. Like, that's really lame to do that. Mark Andrews apparently is going to be potentially back for this season. It's football, man. If they take out the hip drop tackles, you might as well pull the flags out because I don't know how people are going to make plays in football. Tom Brady came out and said it himself. You know, the offense doesn't need, or the offense doesn't need help from rules to protect the defense. The defensive players have to be able to protect themselves and play football. That is how they make their money. There was nothing, in my opinion, that was malicious at all about it. It's a little ridiculous that it's gotten the attention that I think that it has gotten. If they do ban the rule, like I said, I don't know how you're going to play football at this point. You can't put your weight on anybody. You can't do the hip drop tackles. I don't know what defenders are supposed to do if that's the case. So, you know, to me, it's going to ruin the sport of football if they do try to ban something like this. And I hate that they're going to try to make it Logan Wilson is the reason that they're banning this. It's just ridiculous in my opinion. They need to find somebody else to dump that on. Logan Wilson is a clean football player, always has been, and I'm glad Zach Taylor was able to say something like that to back him up. Another thing that was good, Jake Shiesty. How you feeling about Jake Shiesty? 4 carries, 40 yards, 8 for 14, threw a touchdown, 6. I mean, he didn't look bad.
No, I mean, I've said this before. I thought that Jake Shiesty has the legs to go and do some stuff in the NFL. His arm was the question. He was decisive with his throws. I thought that one throw to Trent Irwin was low-key a dot. Trent Irwin got to catch that. I mean, if he doesn't catch that, then the Ravens don't go up, 14-10 at that point or something like that? Yeah. Because, like that's the first down, the clock's moving. It's like, I think it's like a little under 4 minutes at that point. Maybe you move, maybe you keep on. But I thought that we didn't have to go to halftime like that on the strength of that. Later on, Jake Browning, he does his thing. He has a real good drive, gets a tutty out of it. I thought Burrow talked about it afterwards and said he thought he did real good for a guy that didn't really have any reps, like real reps in that game in a hostile environment. I thought what he did was really good. Do I think that he is going to come in and do what Joe Burrow does? No. But I do think that the emphasis has got to be on Zach Taylor and Brian Callahan moving forward more so than actual than Jake Browning to me, because much like the Ryan Finley game that changed our whole entire fate, against the Steelers or whatever, I thought that was a game plan that they put together that was special, and it did something for that Ryan Finley skill set, and it totally duped the Steelers out that night. And I'm not saying that you got to dupe the guys out every week, but I think they got to put together something that works for him and build off of it. And at the end of the day, a lot of quarterbacks have gone down around the league. And in all of those situations, the defense has stepped up a lot of times. Like you look at the Browns, which I do think the Browns have a better defense. I will say that. But I'm expecting the Bengals defense to step up and play. These are not scrubs. Like Sam Hubbard should come back this week, maybe, possibly, he says, or he didn't want to really speak on it. And then you got other guys like Cam Taylor-Britt that's been on it. Like all these guys that are in place that made us feel like we had a Super Bowl caliber team. None of that has really changed around him. And all season, everybody told us that Joe Burrow was carried by his weapons. So the weapons are here, and you got a guy that is capable of throwing a football. He's capable of getting the ball to him. Right. In comparison to all those other teams that are trash to me, that like some of them teams that never really had a chance anyway, like they still been going afloat and winning games with way less. Sure. Way less of a AFC championship pedigree defense, way less of the wide receiver, like the wide receivers for some of these things. You know what I'm saying? Like the Colts lost their quarterback, and I mean they come back with Michael Pittman Jr. and a couple other guys. You know what I'm saying? And they've been staying afloat, winning some games here and there. Not world beaters, but they're competent. I think that the Bengals have the roster to still go and win a good amount of games, and they should make the play. I honestly feel like if they don't, then to me it's a bigger indictment on Zach Taylor than Jake Browning. What do you think?
Yeah, I think, the plan moving forward, I agree with you. They had the weapons in place. They have a solid offensive line. They have a guy like Joe Mixon that they showed in the last game that they can lean on. It's up to Zach and this staff to kind of put together a plan, like you're saying, that's going to work. The weapons are there. I mean, this is pretty much the best position to step into as a backup quarterback. And I do agree with you that the defense is going to have to step it up. One of the things that they're doing, though, that makes me feel very comfortable in this situation is that they're leading at the top of the league in the turnover margin. Now, Jake Browning is a part of that. He cannot turn the ball over. But I think if you can cook up a recipe, I might even call it the Dalton diet or something like that. You give him 200 yards passing, 2 TDs. I think that's the max. I think that's an amazing game for somebody like Jake Browning. You don't need him to throw 300, 400 yards. You don't need that. You need him to do that. You got to play good defense, and you got to put the ball in the hands of your weapons. You got the Migos. You should be getting T. Higgins back. You still got Tyler Boyd. You have T. Huddy, who he should actually have some chemistry with, being that, they played a lot of games together. The good thing, too, is Jake Browning did get that preseason experience with playing with some of these guys. So him playing with that confidence, if the Bengals can get turnovers and give him good field position, and also another big part of this, Money Matt. That's one of the reasons that we signed him as well. There's going to be some times where you need to hit a 55-yarder or something like that, and Money Matt can do that for you. But I think moving forward, the plan needs to be to surround this offense and put Jake Browning in a position to succeed. That's what we really need. Make it simple. Do what you need to do. It's really going to come down to this coaching staff, and this offense to see where they go. Them having 10 days, not to say that any time is a good time for Joe Burrow to get hurt, but I'm glad that it was a situation where they get 10 days to try to pretty much chef something up for Jake Browning in this offense, rather than, the next week, 7 days, and he doesn't have a situation that he's going into that's ideal. I think that this is a great situation for them to work in, and I think moving forward, this is a team that can compete. Can they win a Super Bowl? I don't know, but that brings us to our next topic. Should the Bengals tank or contend? So a lot of people that I'm hearing is talking about, hey, let's tank, let's get Brock Bowers, let's do this and that. It's not going to benefit the Bengals to win games. It's going to cost them, draft slots. They can get up to a top 10 pick. You got to convince me that this is that. I get that. Like, I get that you want to get the best position for the draft or whatever. I get that you still want to make sure that you're going to have a Jamar Chase type situation. I don't think that that's the situation, but I think a lot of people feel like this is a situation where they could get a top 10 pick, get a good receiver, get someone who might not be there at 18 or 20. But then what are your thoughts? Should the Bengals tank? One of our first episodes when we came together was, is it time to tank? And is it time to tank, or is it time to contend?
Whoa, man, look how far we've come, though. You remember, though, like the beginning stages of it, where I remember, we got together and I lost followers because people was like, I can't believe that. I'm like, look, it's this dude named Joe Burrow. We were like 2-something, and I was like, there is no way this team is going to do anything moving forward, and you're going to have hella problems if you don't go get like a real dude, and the rest is history. But I will say this. The tanking thing is so many different levels to this. Me and Ace as content creators, Mon in the crowd, all these people that like put in all this work to do all of this stuff. I get it. I think an average fan's perspective is a little different. Like, you don't see and I'm not trying to make it about us, but like I can't really give my perspective if I didn't have a role in putting out content, right? Mm-hmm. But we work so hard to get to these points and we work so hard to educate ourselves on different points. And I've said that this team is a Super Bowl caliber team. For me to say, yeah, like blow the whole thing up, it will contradict everything that I pretty much have stood the whole entire time. Like that I stood, like I wouldn't be standing on any business if I were to say that, because I've already been telling everybody like this is a championship level team. So you got that aspect of it. And I know some people don't get that. They just like, yeah, I cut on the game when it cuts on. If they not win, I don't have that luxury. So I want them to win. There's reasons, and there are different things that we've done to make sure that we we go to these games and have fun. You want your team to do well. A really, really important interview that I thought me and Ace had that kind of went under the radar because I think he did a good amount of interviews was the one with Orlando Brown. So we had a talk with him before we went on, real good talk. Even on the interview, you could see he's like, yeah, man, like I'm telling you right now, Cincy going to be one of them teams. Like we doing this, we doing that. One way that people won't feel that way, and you won't get any other free agents to feel that way, and that da-na-na. Remember, I get it. Everybody isn't the biggest fan of Orlando Brown because of the Chiefers putting all that negative energy. He was the number one prospect. He was the number one free agent this all season from PFF and ESPN, period. And the Bengals got him for cheaper. They did the shiesty way. And he was saying, I said that on the interview. I said, bro, how important it was that we got you so that Bengals fans that say that the Bengals are cheap, I could point and say, bro, we got the number one, in the all season, that was the number one dude that they had rated on all the boards, right? He was preaching on that show. Y'all got to go back and watch that. He was talking about like the things that the Bengals are about to do. You know how free agents will not want to go there? Thinking about Joe Burrow as some injury-prone dude that's playing for a bad organization, like I'm not going to name the name, but one of the worst organizations in the last 25 years that hasn't won any games, that only get people because based off of money, right? So you know that the Bengals aren't going to pay the top dollar for anybody. You need guys to feel like they're going to come to a winning environment. That's one layer. Then the people that are currently there, you have to practice. You have to have repetition on winning. So this is called Wincinnati. So think about that. Like you can't just deviate from that and think that these dudes are going to like lay down for a draft pick to go from like number 20 to number 10. I looked at the draft for last year. Number 10 was the tackle that went to Tennessee. Number 20 was JSN, who was like who I thought was the best wide receiver prospect in the NFL. Like period, right? So like this gap that people are thinking that they're going to go get a certain guy, it might doesn't even exist. And a lot of times the people that you drafted those spots don't really pan out. Like and then when you look at some of our draft picks, look how we got it out the mud. Joe Mixon, second round, Tyler Boyd, second round, T. Higgins, second round, DJ Turner, all these Cam Taylor, these are all like second, third round picks that are really good on your team. The only time that I think is good to tank is if a Myles Garrett level talent was there at the top of the board and you were like, say we were in a Patriot spot and we had only won 2 games. You have a real conversation and say, I want to go get that defensive guy. I think he changes our whole team. Then you start shelving guys. It wouldn't be no tank because there's too many dogs on the team, but you start doing that. Or what we did for Joe Burrow. And we're not in that spot. Joe Burrow is going to have a recovery time of like 4 to 6 months and he's going to be good to go. And I'm just saying, like, I think people are just thinking about, the season's up. Like some people and giving up. I was a Bengals fan before I was a Joe Burrow fan. Let me get that clear. Like I've lived my whole life hating the Steelers. You know what I'm saying? So you think that I'm about to wake up and concede to these bums? You know what I'm saying? Like, and they feeling the same way about us. They're like, yeah, I mean, even if I know that they're not thinking that they're going to win a Super Bowl, but they thinking like, man, we about to cream these punks. These dudes went to 2 straight AFC championship. Who they think they are? I'm on my end like, who you think you are? Let's run it. You know what I'm saying? So I can't fold. So that's where I come from. And I just think people aren't thinking about the long-term effects on losing and how people perceive you and what you want your team to be versus currently winning and creating a culture of winning. You want free agents to say, bro, they won 10 games without Joe Burrow? Bro, imagine if Joe come there and I come there too. We killing people. Like, you see what I'm saying? So
yeah, I agree with you, bro. I think to tank right now, like, what are you getting from that? Like, okay, I get Brock Bowers. Okay, T. Higgins is a free agent. So is Tyler Boyd. So is Jonah Williams. So is DJ Reader. Like, so is Cheeto Awuzie. Like, Brock Bowers by himself is not fixing this team, fam. So, like, for me, I don't like tanking to just get one player just doesn't make sense. I think, like you said, having that culture of winning, that's what's going to matter. They want to know that teams aren't laying down during crucial parts of their seasons. We talk about DJ Reader. You know, he's entering into the twilight of his career, and some of these other guys, they don't want to play for a team that's just going to lay down. And I agree with Zim on that. The time is to contend. Do what you can do. If you can make a push, I think when you look at this schedule, bro, there's some winnable games on that schedule that they could win with Jake Browning where they could make a push to do some things. Now, I know some people are like, oh, you crazy for thinking – I don't know, bro. Crazier things have happened. Did we not see the Dolphins go to the playoffs last year? Did we not see the Ravens go to the playoffs last year with the backup? Like, why can't the
and they didn't have a Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. I mean, and let's not act like Mike Hilton, Cam Taylor, Britt, Logan Wilson, Jermaine Pratt. These dudes are healthy. Like I feel like we're the only team when the Browns. I know that they're crazy fans, But when the Browns lost their quarterback, none of them people was like the season is over.
They didn't pack it up. They didn't pack
Nobody packed that up on their team. And like you gotta like maybe credit them to being a little psychotic. They probably thinking they're gonna win a Super Bowl for all I know with those quarterbacks. But they don't got no Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, none of that stuff. You mean to tell me you don't think that the dude could just throw whatever to these guys and then, man, get out of here.
For sure. But speaking of talking that talk and cooking it up, let's toss it to our friends at Midwest Best Barbecue. Shout out to Midwest Best Barbecue, 669 Justice Court in Loveland, Ohio. Definitely be sure to stop in and let them know Ace and Zim sent you. They got all types of delicious food there. They also do catering if that's something that you're into and you need to have a catering done for the weekend. They can definitely get you hooked up. They got all types of barbecue wings, some of the best wings in the city. Check them out, 669 Justice Court in Loveland, Ohio. But like Zim said, I'm feeling like Wolf on Wall Street. I'm not leaving. I'm not going. I'm not leaving. We're going to contend. They're going to need to march in here with an assault truck to get me out of this mother. We not going down. It's Wincinnati. Tap in with us. Follow Zim on Twitter at ZimHouday. Follow him on IG at Zim_Houday. Follow me at New Stripe City. Follow the pod at Wincinnati Pod on Twitter. Definitely tune in with Jake and Mon. They're going to bring you the Bengals post. Zim, was there anything that you wanted to say before we get out of here, bro?
Yeah, I just want to say, like, don't let these people talk crazy about you. The Ravens have won. I seen somebody in the crowd talking crazy already. The Ravens have won one game in the last 9 years in the playoffs. Don't let these people talk to you like they don't know who the Kings of the North really is. Don't let them act like 9 ain't out. Like if 9 was here, these people wouldn't even be talking none of this crazy stuff. Don't let these people talk to you like that, telling you about some stuff that happened when we was in like middle school or something like that. Like, bro, you haven't done anything in a decade. Stop playing with me. The Bengals have won the division for nearly half the decade. The Bengals have won more playoff games in the last couple years than you have in the last 15, 20 years. Like, come on, let's be serious. All these people talking about championship stuff and things that you can't bring out to a field. The Bengals literally went 5-4 2 straight years and went to back-to-back AFC championships while their quarterback sat at home and watched us eating bonbons on the leather couch that we put them on. Don't let these people talk that stuff to you like they don't know who it is for real. It's 9 for real. The only thing that happened is that he got hurt. And even in that moment, we're still a contending team and we're still good enough to beat their ass. So let that sit in for a second.
Shout out to the game. Let's get it.
It's an exciting time to be a Bengals fan.
I'm Ace.
We got a special show as always.
The voice of the Bengals. Dan Ford, Willie Anderson, Corey Dillon.
The name of this thing is called Wincinnati, and I'm not going to stop.
Talk to us about that roller coaster season.
I'm still going to give you the same AJ.
I'm going to work as hard as I can to be the best.
Always working ever since I met y'all, boy.
I got to get you a top 5 receiver. Better, man.
It was good. Real. Watch out for us.